Good morning. So today I started my day out a little bit different. I got up a little bit late and I didn't take the dogs out for a walk. I just kind of opened the door and let them out. And I got straight into my day. There's some things that I want to accomplish today. And I've been doing my work. Right now I'm making tea. I'm making tea with, there's a gat and other natural things that this Chinese tree and I can't say it, Shavanga root, which are all things that are supposed to be helping, and Louisa, which is also calming and also helps the digestive system. And so all things natural and good, and these things are supposed to help with focus. I think I'm going to add in some of this sage that I get from the mountain, natural sage. This is the day 3 of the war breakout, and there are just fighter jets going over. Even after I finally got to sleep, then some fighter jets went right over the house, and they woke me up. I'm not really updated on what's going on. My teenage son, my 16-year-old, is taking it very hard. I told him to quit watching, get out of TikTok, quit watching all of the news. You know, when something comes that he needs to know about, it'll come right in your face. That when I quit watching news I was never a big news watcher, but when I quit not watching news about 10 years ago, the realization that I had is that what is relevant to my life will show up in my life inherently. It will show up in my life because it's relevant. Whatever is relevant to me shows up in my life. So if there's something that I do need to know, by nature, it'll come through my knowledge. It'll come through me knowing, either by way of other people, or it'll come through my yard, or it'll come to me. It can't not come to me. So, and we are living in such a fast-paced world. 2,000 years ago, people lived in their basic surroundings. If there was something that they needed to know, the word got to them. And people that lived in these parts, in Galilee or in Israel or wherever, didn't have the worries of the entire world on them. And that is something. And so nowadays, and as an animal, we are equipped to handle what is immediately around us. We're evolving really fast now into other things. So this tea is boiling. I'm just going to cover it and let it simmer for, sit in it in its boiling water. I'm going to cover it. And so we are programmed as a species to handle a certain amount of pressure, and with this whole age of communication, of TV. Even when TV started, we started getting news from around the world, and it's putting a whole bunch of things into our world that don't belong in our world. And I know that by one perspective, it could be, oh, you're hiding your head in the sand and you don't want to face reality. But I'm facing reality. Reality is in my world. That's my reality. And to take on all of the pressure of all of the world and everything that is going on, then it puts a lot of pressure on my internal life and my perspective and the way that I experience my life. And in my life, it's exactly that. It's my life. It's my experience. And that's all this is an experience. So the more I take control over my experience and don't let all the garbage in. And besides, the media is controlling the world now. They get people riled up about this and get people riled up about that. If there wasn't so much media around everything, there would be a lot of less of things going on. The media gives the bama. The bama is like it gives the place to be presented. It allows for, it allows for fear tactics to come out and spread. It gives the stage. It sets a stage. And so anybody that wants to pass a message, they make a big thing going on and get a big thing riled up and start doing all sorts of things just for the fame of it, just so that it will be. And then it's like a loop that feeds itself, because a lot of times if there wasn't a place for it, if there wasn't an expression of it, or if there wasn't the media around telling everybody what's going on, then a lot of the things that are going on wouldn't be going on. So it's something that kind of feeds itself. We feed the media. And have you ever noticed that all news is dun, 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 dun? It's all, even the music, it's set up to play on your fears. It's set up to get you in a place where you're hooked, where you feel that you have to know. It gets your fear mustered up. And that was just what I was telling my son, to stop watching. Stop watching whatever is relevant for you. You know, if there are missiles coming down in Tiberias where you're at, believe me, you're going to know about it. Why do you need to worry about it happening way before it's happening and adding to that fear vibration in the world? It's like there's different dimensions that are going on simultaneously. I am living in I'm doing my work, I'm doing my things. Yesterday I went and I sat and worked next to the spring all day, for most of the day, and my twin came. So it's like, and so what I was going to say about the dimensions is that it's side-by-side dimensions. When we were sitting there, we were like in heaven on earth. There's a canopy of trees there, and the birds were chirping, and there's little lizards running up and down and we were doing our work, and he brought his bow and arrows, and we went in the water, and we were practically the only ones there all day long, because everybody's in this fear mode. Everybody is hiding in their houses, and when you are not in that mode, you can bring the vibration of humanity up, because we're all linked together. It's like that eerie feeling when the war broke out. You go outside and you can feel the tension in the air. You can feel the vibration. You can feel that everything is up in the air. So yesterday when I was there, I brought water from the spring, and I drink water from, I showed you before, so if you're following, I drink water from a clay pot, because it brings the water has memory. The water is intelligent. Our cells have intelligence in them, and it rejuvenates the water comes from the ground. It is embodied in the ground, and there is a vibration to the earth. And this clay pot is made of earth. And look, that's so funny, because this is clay that I actually am making. I made from, look, it's so good. I made from the Jordan River. So I actually am learning the process of how to make clay, and I'm going to be sculpting some things from it. The first things that I want to sculpt, I kind of want to sculpt a mask. I want to sculpt my own version of drama, what is it, tragedy comedy. So I want to sculpt my own version of those. It's been something that I've been wanting to do for a while. So I think that it's really cool that I make my own clay. I was watching online. I actually added in sand to it, and I was watching online. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually taking water that I collected yesterday at the spring, just to finish one part before I move on to another, and I'm filling, because it's in plastic. And so I filled this whole jug yesterday, and I'm filling my clay pot with water from the natural spring. And so it's natural all the way around. this water that comes from that natural spring comes from underground. There's an underground stream. You can actually open up, there's a little cave you can crawl down in, and it is, you can see the water source where it comes from out of the ground. And so it's the most pure of pure. It's, it's been filtered through the earth itself, and it doesn't have, the water that comes from the tap is water that has been processed, and it's basically dead. It doesn't have any, they process it, they kill it, and it comes through plastic and metal pipes, and by the time it comes through your faucet, it's already been traumatized. My kids laugh at me. They say, "Oh, Ema, traumatized water," but it's true, because the molecules, they have a memory to them. And imagine they're coming. We are mostly made of water. Most of our makeup is made of water. And so if we are drinking tap water that is like infused with, first of all, rusty pipes, and it comes through shaking, and it comes under the, it's like, it's traumatized by the time it gets to us. And then we drink it straight out of, tap water, or we drink water that has been totally killed and put into plastic bottles. And plastic bottles also have a tether. A tether is a vibration to them, and poisons. How plastic bottles are made, it's poisons, and that poison gets into our water. And the water, in order for it to get to us, not like with green, and it has to be processed and killed. And if we're lucky, it doesn't have any additives to it. Like even the water that we drink from the tap water has all sorts of additives to it, fluoride, and we're told a story that it's for our own health. But anything that is, nature is perfect. Nature is in sync. Nature, we're part of nature, and we've evolved with nature for hundreds of thousands of years. You can trust nature. Think about the divine intelligence that created life, and then think that humans come along and they think that if they manipulate it and change it, that they're doing something that's better for you than what God intended. So it's kind of like an absurd way of thinking. Thinking that what is man-made is going to be better for you than what is God-made. Now, of course, you have to add your own intelligence into it, not go drink from a pond that has some kind of, and we are overpopulated. We have a lot of our species. So we do have to take those things into consideration. And we're also living in a reality now. We're living in a society that has been built up for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. It keeps on breaking down and building up, and breaking down and building up. And that was one point that I wanted to talk about. First of all, I want to say about meeting my twin yesterday. Yesterday I went to sit there. I took a whole bunch of work with me. I'll show you what I'm working on. I took a whole bunch of work with me. I'm actually working with water. It's so funny. I was telling you that my daughter gave me over her Amazon, so living water. See, it's so funny. It's so funny that that's what I was just talking about, and then this is what I'm working on. It wasn't intentional, but these are bottles for a product of hers that is living water. And this water is actually water that we collect from the Jordan River and sell on Amazon. So yesterday I went and sat by the natural spring, and when my twin came, and I was putting the stickers on the bottles, all the living water stickers, and now I'm filling them. See, I'll show you what I'm doing. So this is 150 mil. So I have a big pot here, and we actually had to boil the pot. We boil the water because it does have, you can't fill these bottles with it. because the Jordan River water is living water. And so it doesn't turn. And then I fill the bottle. And then I have the caps for these here somewhere. So that's what I'm doing this morning. And yesterday I sat by the spring over there and I rolled my red string. That's why I put one on me while we were sitting there. And my twin came. And actually what I wanted to talk about was that in these times of war now and the different dimensions that we're living in, and that during these times and strenuous times, I see that I can't concentrate and talk at the same time, so I'm going to finish this up and then I'll continue my work. That during these times, these are times that are defining moments. Because everything is so stressed and everything is so out of whack, and everything that we've known is changing. There's all of a sudden we're at war. All of a sudden the whole world is changing. In the States, what's going on is just absolutely. There is no. Yeah, I'm not getting into blame or it should be this way or this person's fault. It doesn't matter whose fault. It doesn't matter. What is important is what's really going on. And there is a massive shift going on in humanity with what's going on in Russia and Ukraine and China and all over Europe and now all over the Middle East. And now we're at war, and what's going on in the States, what's going on internally in the States. Everything is shifting. It's like everything has been polarized. It's like the old world is dying, and it's opportunity for the new world to be. It's a new world is being reborn. So, and we, the people, having all of our connectivity and starting to understand our spirituality and the new world that's coming in, we have power in this moment. Because when there are such abrupt changes, and it's a shift, because we are a massive community of humanity. So it has to happen when, I spilled it on myself. When you make tea, in order to get all of the flavors, you have to, I just spilled it on myself again. You have to make sure to, I usually do about 3 times to make sure that all of the flavors and all of the plants are mixed in well. When there's such massive change, like right now, when you feel that eerie feeling, the eerie feeling is the feeling of time standing still, because time is in a constant flow, and humanity is constantly in. They're in this. See that I can see it energetically. The point that we are at is the point of now, is the point of power. And we are constantly projecting into the future how the future is going to look from this point. And we do it basically automatic. We get into this automatic, and it's based on the past and projected into the future. And we're in this consistent flow. So when something comes and abruptly changes that flow and shakes it up, then my brother's calling. I'm going to tell him that I'm going to call him back, because I'm getting ready to finish this, and I don't want to have to go in and edit it and add 2 parts together, because then it just takes a long time in the rendering. So when the point of power is now, I also don't want to lose my train of thought. The point of power is now. So when something comes in and shakes your whole world up and shakes an entire nation's world up, everything comes to a standstill. That means people are not projecting the future as an automatic, or the whole future of where they were projecting to. People are going along their path. Hey, hold on, I'm going to pause this. So my brother actually came He needed something from me. So at these points where everything is tossed up in the air, is an opportunity for massive change, because most of society now have stopped projecting into the future. They've stopped their automatic projection. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to work. There is no automatic. And so these are opportunities of massive change, opportunities to take a whole consensus, a whole society, and move it and shift it into a new direction. It's like the old world has to break down in order for a new world to be born. And so these are times of intense power. New leaders to rise, new spiritual leaders to rise, new ways of thinking, opportunities to change your life, opportunities to all of a sudden you get a reset. It's like a reset button is pressed in your life, and there is no projection forward, so you can bring yourself back and center yourself into the now and decide where you're taking it. You know, you can reassess everything. And when everything is broken down like it is, especially here in Israel right now, there have been tragedies. It's so sad. People's lives have been turned upside down, and it really gives you perspective in how delicate life is, and how people are just going along their lives kind of in a sleepwalk, and then something like this comes in and it rattles everything up. So these times are times of change. These times are times of opportunity. These times there is so much potential and so much power in these moments right now, all around the world, because the old world, the dinosaur world of dynasties, of having singulars on the top that are kind of using the people as pawns in their power game. It's all up. And that's why, because of the connectivity with internet and YouTube and people understanding that we're connected as through these videos, I've been connecting to people that we are on the exact same wavelength, that live all the way across the world. And we're all connecting and finding each other. It's like, and we're rising together in the spiritual awakening, which is waking us up into a new reality, into the new world, which is heaven on earth. There is a way to live even among everything that is going on now in a completely different dimension of heaven on earth. And if we bring the vibration up far enough, we are pulling more and more people with us into this mindset and into this dimension of heaven on earth. It's a painful route, yeah, because this spiritual awakening is painful. We have to go through ourselves in order to arrive at this place of calm. But it is happening, and it is happening all around the world, and it is happening because the whole old system is breaking down. The whole old dinosaur system of being under somebody's thumb is breaking down. All of society's consensuses are breaking down, and a new world is being born out of it. So these are times of power. These are times of change. These are times of potential, because the projection of the future isn't clear. There is room for new leaders to come in and go forward and change the mindset and take the focus and show new and different ways. These are powerful, powerful, powerful times, and they're difficult times as well. So it's we're getting stronger for it, and when we can come out of the consensus way of seeing and we can come into a new way of seeing, we can see the power in it, and we can see that what is happening, and it's sad, it's horrific. But you can see that in order for the old ways to break down, it has to happen. The dark is holding on. It's like we got to the times of the wars between light and darkness. Everything is polarizing, and everybody is choosing what side they're on, and everybody has a choice now, and the power of now, and everybody is sitting in the now because they're forced to. There is no clear path of future, which is a must, which is waking people up, which is allowing people to bring their focus back to them. And I did a couple videos on focus, and it's very interesting because our focus is our creative power, is the power that we create our lives with, is how we steer our lives. So this is, you can say, it's the natural cause and effect. We've seen it throughout history. We've seen it with the decline of Rome. Rome was the most powerful entity, and they took over, and that system also broke down. Anything that is out of whack with nature breaks down. See, it's a paradox of sort, because you can say it's out of whack with nature, but it is the natural course that things took. There's so many different courses that humanity could have taken from any point in time. So right now it is a point in which all of the old is being broken down and new is being reborn. And we have the opportunity and the power within ourselves to take our own futures and guide them to where we want them to be when you come out of it and you look into it. And that's from the big picture, but how does it look from underneath? Underneath, it is taking back the power of choice, taking back the power of my own mind, bringing up my vibration, which brings up the vibration around me, which allows more people to come into that vibration. And then together, we're creating the new world. So each of us, it's also being an expression of ourselves, so that we can have that. I mean, being our own expression is the only way that we can affect the world, is by expressing who we are and bringing ourselves to our clearest vibration. And the rest is God sent. The rest happens on its own. Once we bring ourselves back to our center, wherever we are meant to be and whatever message we are meant to give will be a God-given. It'll come out automatically and naturally from that state of being. It can't be any different. So our job is to raise our vibration, is to not allow the negative vibration or the lower dense vibrations to pull us down. Our job is to stay in the dimension of heaven on earth, so that we can bring more people. People come in, they see you sitting in heaven and earth, and they say, I want to be there. And then you can inspire people. And the more people you inspire, the more people they inspire. It's like the butterfly effect. And it keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going. So you can see how raising your own vibration can spread from you outward. And the more people, the brighter your vibration and the stronger your vibration and your holding of it in that place, the more effect you have on the world, and the more power you have to lead humanity into the new world of heaven on earth. And that was the point that I wanted to make. So yesterday when we were sitting at, and that is the place from which I do my work. And that is the place, and I feel like also with my work, it's like spreading that outwardly. It's when you have a vibration. See, these are the red string that I made yesterday. They're separated into fives, and it's this. And when you're sitting in a place of that vibration, it is all around you. You can feel it radiating out of you, just like I can feel it radiating out of me now. And it radiates into your work, and it radiates into your surroundings. And it was surreal, because we were sitting there in heaven on earth. We were sitting in such a high vibrational field, like a sanctuary. And it was good because we talked about what had happened, that big, what had happened a few weeks ago. And I was able to really hear what he was saying and his feeling. But what I wanted to say, and again, I'm still bringing the power back to um, um, going forward, going, when I am focused on the twin flame journey and the twin flame, and it's taking the focus away from the spiritual awakening, and I want to keep my focus more on the spiritual awakening, which is the point of power. But the contrast was amazing because we were sitting there at the natural spring and it was just amazing around us. And the birds were chirping and it was like everything was shiny and green and just beautiful. And we're in the time amidst war, and there's a highway behind, and we could hear tanks going by. And during war, in Israel, usually when they transfer tanks from one place to another, they take them on big trucks. But because it's wartime, the tanks, just overwhelmed with like the it's setting in just the travesties that have been happening, and the poor lost souls. They're all lost souls. There are no, you can't come and say, oh, it's them. No, it's them, and we're only protecting ourselves. It's all lost souls. Living in lower dimensions of body and greed and mind, and the fighters aren't even fighting for their own selves. They're fighting for somebody sitting on top that is dictating to them. But the tanks were actually on the highways driving. They were driving the tanks on the highways up to the northern border. And that just shows the urgency of it. They didn't have time. There not enough trucks to transport all the tanks that need to be transported. So I imagine that highway is ripped up. I imagine. But you could hear the clankety clank of the trains, because they're on like a chain. They're driven on a chain. So you could hear it going, and they're really loud. And it was just lines and lines and lines of trains of tanks going up the highway from behind where we were. And it was like eerie, because here we are sitting in this perspective of just total beauty, and behind us there's tanks. um, it's just, see, I say, when you zoom out, you see that it has to be that way to break down old ways of thinking in society. And there has to be a massive shakeup, because the old are still trying to hold on to power and trying to hold on to the people, because the people are their pawns, right? And they're the ones that pay taxes. And it's a big system. It's a big system. And so the system, even you could say that the system is trying to hold on to itself. The system itself has become an entity, has become a consensus, an entity, a archetype. Okay, so to sum this up, these are times of immense, immense change and power. And each of us individually can make a change just by deciding within ourselves and holding our own vibration. When we hold our own vibration in a high place, then our life has to follow. We can't live a low density life with a high vibration. So if you have a high vibration, your life will follow. It's inherent. Inherent, is that a word? I think so. Okay. So sending you much love. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being with me.